Angels live in my town.
So listen the f*** up.
It's crazy.
This sounds like you actually have something to say.
Oh, good for you.
What the fuck is he talking about?
You guys are doing terrific.
This is great iced tea.
I think every American should be watching this.
All right, what's good, everybody? This is Niagara's #1 podcast, Angels Live in My Town. We're back with another fresh episode.
Always.
We got Mike D in studio today, everybody.
Hello, good sir.
Big show today, everybody. We got a lot going on today.
Always. Good guest coming up, too.
We got some guests coming up. We're going to talk about Shane Gillis on SNL last night. That was crazy.
That was pretty funny. I'm glad you told me about it, Mike, because I probably would have never watched it until you told me to watch it. So
yeah.
I really did enjoy it.
Yeah. So that was good. You know, a reason to watch SNL for once. We got Why Bud Light's Still Gay coming up on the show. We're also going to be interviewing comedian Tyler Morrison.
That's a big one, Mikey.
Yeah, no, I love Tyler. He's literally one of the best joke writers I've ever met. Like, this guy is like pro-level joke writer. Like, this guy could just come up with jokes off the top of his head like no one I've ever seen. Give him a topic, and he's just like, within I don't know, 20 minutes, he's got like a list of jokes. Just I'm consummate pro.
I didn't know who he was until you turned me on to him, and since you did, I've been watching a bunch of his shit, and it's great. I'm glad you turned me on to him, and actually every comedian you've turned me on to. You've got a good knack for picking out comedians.
I think I know what funny is. I know whatever makes me laugh, I guess. It's hard to make me laugh. I'm not easy, you know?
But anyways.
You know, farts in the bubble, farts in the tub, that'll make me laugh, but...
I think everybody laughs at farts.
Why not? Why wouldn't you? But Shane, let's get into it. Shane on SNL. That was awesome. I actually really enjoyed it. The whole story with Shane, if you're not familiar with Shane Gillis, he's probably the brightest young star in the comedy world right now. He's top dog, I think. His stand-up's excellent. It's on that level of a Louis C.K. He's just a very, very comfortable, great joke writer. Like, he's just really good on stage, and he's got a great act, and people just find him really relatable. So Shane's killing it right now. But 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
4, sir. I looked it up last night. 4.
So 4 years ago, he, which is a big break for a lot of young comedians, he got hired to be on SNL as a cast member. And then within, I think, 2 or 3 days of that announcement, someone dug into his archives of his podcast and brought up some clips that were a little questionable, I guess.
I believe it was towards Asian people specifically as well.
He mentioned that his girlfriend called it neuter instead of noodle. He was like, "Can we get some neuter?"
And that's why they took him off. They fired him.
That was basically it.
That's
honestly
not even that bad.
It's not that bad, but I mean, you know, SNL's become this very woke show now. I mean, like, it's very political.
Fucking thing sucks.
Yeah, you're telling me. And it's very political, and I even guess like Shane was like, you know, he was excited about going on the show, but then when they fired him, he kind of understood. A lot of other people might have like crumbled into a ball, curled up, and said, fuck, you know.
Start drinking drugs.
Maybe, you know, got really bummed out about it. Yeah. But it seemed like Shane just like was like, fuck, whatever, you know, didn't.
Took it on the chin.
Bothered him for like a minute, but then just kind of continued doing his thing. Now, Shane Gillis is one of the biggest comedians in the world. He's got the biggest Patreon show. I think he's got about 90,000 subscribers on Patreon, which is nuts.
That's great. That is a lot.
Oh, man. And you know what SNL pays you? SNL pays, I think it's like something like, I think it's like $6,000 a week.
That's still, I mean... You live in New York, though. Is that enough? $6,000 a week? Let's do
for New York City, 6, and you're on network
12,
television.
18, 2,400 or 24,000 a month.
Yeah, and then you're on network TV. You know what I mean? I think it goes up as you go on. I think like Daryl Hammond. You remember how he was on the show for like 10 seasons, or like Kenan Thompson. Kenan Thompson's still on the show. I couldn't believe it. I saw the cast.
Is that the black guy?
Yeah, okay. He's the guy from Good Burger. Remember?
Yeah,
Good Burger?
Yeah. I never watched that, but I know what you're talking about.
But Keenan's been on the show for what, like fucking 10 years now?
I wouldn't know. I haven't watched it in 20.
He's been on for a while, and And I think now, like at his level, I think he's probably getting like 10 grand a week or something like that. You know,
I mean, that's good pay. It's nothing to frown. Like,
it's not like but I mean, it's.
You would think Hollywood and celebrities would be getting more.
I think it's a very rare skill set, and there's not a lot of people that could fill that spot. So it's you're valuable, and it's a lot of pressure. You got to be live on camera once a week performing. It's a tough gig, man. It's not a super easy gig.
Constantly writing. They chip in, like they have roundtables as far as I know, and they all kind of chip in on the bits, right? They have to throw in bits.
So they have a writer's team and then they have a cast. And the way it used to work on SNL would be like, if you wanted to get your stuff on, like if you wanted to get on the show, like there's a cast of group of people, but there's no guarantee that you're gonna actually be on TV that day or that week
or ever.
You have to really kind of hustle. You have to get in line with you have to get the writers to write you stuff and put you in sketches. You have to write your own stuff to get your sketches on. It's like really, it was like a dog eat dog kind of thing. People talk about it was like a very stressful environment. Everyone's competing with each other on that show. And apparently in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, that's changed. It's not like that anymore. And it might be why the show sucks so bad. Because it's like there's no one competing to like get the best stuff on, you know, and like they're all just kind of like
it takes
kumbaya.
It takes out that competition aspect. You're saying basically if you're not fighting to get a bit, what promotes you to even try to even write a bit?
And then and then you're like letting mediocre bits go on because I had a sketch on last week. You can do a sketch this week, like kind of like
it's my turn.
Yeah, and it's like no, it's like, let's just And that's what I thought when I'm like, so I'm excited about. I was excited about Shane because he got fired from the show, and then like 4 years later, he's now such a star that they're asking him to host it. And SNL is going through such a hard time with ratings because everyone's abandoned it, that they need guys like Shane Gillis because he is verifiably funny. Everyone thinks he's funny, and you are a comedy show, SNL. You're not a political propaganda show.
And
okay?
as if I might be wrong, Mike, but is comedy not supposed to push the boundaries and be edgy?
It used to be.
Good comedy. I mean,
yeah. Now it's supposed to make everyone feel good and no one feel bad. No one should ever feel bad about a joke.
Kind of like this show.
All I do is feel bad about this show. But I'm like watching it last night, and I'm excited about seeing Shane. And they go through, they have that opening like character credits where they show the cast.
Yeah.
And it was like, it used to be, when I remember in the 90s where when that show was like, or for the longest time, SNL had the best opening credit thing. It was cool.
Yeah, you'd see all the characters and they do that like a little...
Yeah, and it was stylish and there was something like cool about it. It would look cool. Now, it looks gay. It's so gay. Their opening...
Why are you gay?
Yeah, their opening is so gay. And I'm just like... Yeah, Shane, I'm like excited about Shane coming on the show, but I'm like, at the end of the day, the show is just gay now. It's just like this lame, like cringy kind of thing. It's not cool like it used to be. It used to be cool.
It was cool. You're talking about, I'm assuming, Sandler, Spade, Farley years?
Even after that, I mean, like even Will Ferrell.
I forgot. Actually, I forgot.
Bill Hader.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there was some cast and there were some guys who came out of that show after that cast. Like that was a big cast, but
damn right it was.
But it was. I mean, the show came out in the 70s. And we're talking about like maybe, mid to like 2008, 9, 10 maybe, where the show started to like slip.
Jump the shark?
Yeah, and like this latest cast, I'm like, I don't know. I don't even think I'm going to watch it enough to get into the cast.
I mean, if they do more Shane Gillis stuff, I enjoyed that.
You liked, well...
I actually don't really know him.
We have him on like once, a season.
Well, it's funny. His tenure on SNL is now the shortest. I think it lasted 2 days. Like his hiring and firing was 2 days.
They announced it and then they fired him. He was literally not on the show. Like he never actually performed. He never did an episode. They announced it and then someone was like, hey, he said neuter. He was calling Chinese people, they eat neuter. And like they were like, oh yeah, we can't, we got to distance ourselves from it.
How is that offensive at all?
I don't even think Chinese people would find that offensive, to be honest with you.
Wuhan noodle.
Like I watched that clip because I was like, I got to see what got this guy canceled. It was like intriguing, and then I watched it. I'm like, that's what they were up in arms
I
about?
did not know that. I couldn't even find it, but that's ridiculous.
How's our fake producer? Are you doing anything back there? You got to be
Hey,
switching
Carl.
the cameras once
Hey,
in a while,
Carl.
buddy. Keep an eye on the monitor, not on us, please.
Please. I know you love the show, Fake Carl, but
I know, fake Carl. We've got a new studio producer switching the cameras, but I see him just sitting there staring at me, and it's making me nervous because he's supposed to be doing things.
Fake Carl. Come on, Carl.
Yeah, like you can switch the camera every once in a while, bud. Okay, I know we've had it on this main shot, I think, for the whole time. Anyway,
I digress.
yeah, I'd like to play a clip, if you will.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
This is Shane on SNL last night.
Oh, literally last night's clip. Nice.
Where the fuck is my mouse?
Way in the top left.
Okay.
Looking for the volume.
Literally, there's zero difference. There's no room for being a girls' high school basketball coach.
I thought he killed it, by the way. Killed it.
Slam, you can switch to camera 4.
All right.
Okay.
There he is.
What did I just do? Shit.
There's my dad, the volunteer assistant girls' high school basketball coach.
The face he's even making.
I thought it was funny.
classic.
All right. You don't think that's funny to bring my dad
See,
here
like
to
it
make fun
points,
of
he
him for being a
points
girls'
that
high
out
school
that he
basketball
doesn't think
coach?
it's funny.
All right.
But do you think that that's a laugh track? I know we kind of discussed this prior a little bit to the show.
I'm seeing smiles from the people behind. There's this
Except-
redheaded chick here that does not crack a smile, I think, through the entire time.
No,
But I don't know that they normally are belly laughing back there. They're usually pretty subdued little giggles. I don't think that's a
but he points out
major
that.
indicator.
But it sounds like the crowd's really roaring, right? So that is a laugh track, I'm assuming, over top of the actual crowd, right?
I didn't know that they used a laugh track because that seems pretty odd that they would, because they have a live studio audience and it's kind of disingenuous.
That doesn't mean that they don't at SNL, right?
I don't know that they do or don't. I don't know what they do.
It's just funny to me because if we keep playing this, he does continue to say that, right? He's like, "Oh, that didn't go as well as I thought it did."
Yeah, I mean, he mentions that the room is very well lit and he can see everyone's face and that they're not enjoying it. But I don't know. It's hilarious, so I can't imagine people not.
I thought
laughing.
it was super funny the whole
It was
time.
a really good monologue. I really enjoyed Shane on SNL. That was really good.
I envision like a lot of people probably like that he's brought back the word. I think he says in his thing what retarded a gazillion times. He also says cracker. He brings on words that they probably don't say on SNL, and I bet you there's a lot of frat boys or young men in their 30s, 40s, 20s even being like, "Fuck yeah, about time someone on SNL is saying this shit."
Yeah, the way he used retard wasn't even in like a bad way. Like,
No.
he was saying that his sister didn't think she could have kids, so she adopted 3 black kids, and then got pregnant and had a Down syndrome kid. And he was like, my fantasy is in the future that she's in school and some kid calls her a retard. You can't play with us. He says, retard, you can't play with us, which wasn't, not part of the funny joke. Like, you don't laugh at that part. And he goes, and then 3 black kids come out and beat the shit out of him. That was the joke. He goes, that's his fantasy, that some kid's going to call her a retard so that her brothers, her adopted
3 of
black
them.
brothers are going to beat the shit out of this kid. So that was the joke. It was funny. And it was like, I mean, how else do you tell that joke?
You can't.
Right? Like, if the kid's picking on her, he's not going to use a delicate word like, oh, you mentally challenged person, or whatever politically correct is, saying for Down syndrome people now. He's not going to use that. He's going to say, yeah, this is what kids fucking say. They're going to fucking say, hey, retard, you can't play with us.
Oh yeah, definitely they are, man. You remember being in a playground where those flown around like crazy, and I think kids still today still do that.
I mean, you call kids retarded all the time. It was like, even if they're not retarded, you call them retarded. Like, it's like everyone says that. Everyone does that. It's not like, and everyone wants to act like it's up in arms, like oh my God, how could you say that word? I mean, it's like the N-word or something.
I don't think it is, but I mean,
Like, to them
it is. Yes, I guess.
saying retard, big fucking deal. And he's got a lot of Down syndrome jokes in his act. He had he's got Down syndrome people in his family.
Well, that is legit, or I thought that was a joke. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's got a bit about his Uncle Danny, who he says will sneak grilled cheese sandwiches into restaurants just in case they don't make them. And then he'll go like, we'll be at dinner and be like, he sees Danny like sneaking a cheese sandwich out of his pocket. And they're like, Danny, where'd you get them cheese? Where'd you get that cheese, Danny? And he's just like, he's making a face like, you know. Like.
That reminds me of the tater tots.
And then Danny's dad's like, he's making him at night. I know he's making him at night. And then Danny goes, I'm not making him at night, Dad. And then he looks at me. He's like, I'm making him at night. He gives him a look. You know, I'm making him at night. It's a good bit. He does it very well. And he claims that Down syndrome nicked him.
Yeah, he dodges it. He's
like, I dodged a bullet there. He goes, it nicked me, though. It nicked me. It got me a bit. And he mentions how his Down syndrome niece, they always comment that it looks like Uncle Shane. I thought that was really good, man. I thought it was a good set. What I really liked about it, too, was because I think everyone thought he was going to do what Norm Macdonald did, which was Norm got fired.
Yeah.
And Norm got fired, and about a year and a half later, they asked him to come back on and host the show, and Norm comes on, he does his monologue saying, you know, they fired me for not being funny, which under normal circumstances, I would have had a pretty decent lawsuit, but this is a comedy show, so they got me. And then he goes, but how did I go from not being funny enough that they wouldn't even let me in the building to a year and a half later that I'm so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I get so goddamn funny? He goes, well, I realized I didn't get funnier. The show got really bad. And it was a really good, like, oh, fuck, oh, shit, mic drop moment. People loved it. And then I think a lot of people thought Shane was going to come out and do the same thing. I think they probably thought, he did make a brief comment.
At the beginning, yeah.
Made a brief comment and then moved on from it, just focused on the act. I like that he did that because I think it was kind of predictable for him to like be like, hey, you know, you guys fired me and now you guys have, you know, and like make some bit about like
I know,
that. But
I know everybody thinks I'm going to just come in and do this.
Yeah, so I think I like that he did that, and it looked like it was a lot of pressure and stress for him, and I think he just handled it really well by just kind of just doing his job. Like, I don't think he tried to do anything, you know, that got him out of his comfort zone or anything. I think he just kind of went in there and just said, like, let me do what I do, which is tell funny jokes. And then he was good in the sketches too, man. He's good in sketches.
Buddy, some of those were hilarious. Some of those sketches.
I was wondering, like, while I'm watching it, if you wrote any of them, because he does this sketch thing on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, check out Gilly and Keeves. It's a sketch show that Shane Gillis and his friend Matt Keeves does.
Is Keeves a comedian too?
Keeves is like a guy. He's like kind of like me. He's like a producer guy.
Okay.
I don't think he does. I don't know if he does stand-up comedy, but these guys put together a sketch show that is like one of the funniest sketch shows I've seen since Chappelle Show. It really is. It's very, very funny.
That's a bold statement.
It's very funny. I should pull up one of those sketches. My favorite is ISIS Toyota.
Good ISIS.
All right, listen.
Okay, so this is the ISIS Toyota sketch. This is fucking hilarious. Have you seen this?
No, I don't.
Hello.
Buddy, I just got turned on to him. I heard of
ISIS
him, but
Toyota.
just turned on to him
And
recently.
we have a great collection of pre-owned certified Toyotas. But there's one thing I want to make very clear, and it's that we have nothing to do with the terrorists over there in the Middle East right now. And that's why we are the good ISIS.
All right, listen. You gotta lean into the ISIS thing. It's a good marketing tool.
It's a great marketing tool. I agree with Barbie. I think you should be like, here at ISIS Toyota, we'll behead the competition.
Yes.
No, we're not doing
Yes.
this. What are you guys talking about? We're not wishing death to any of our enemies. We are wishing death to high prices.
Me and Barbie, we can hold AK-47s.
Yeah.
No.
That would be
That's fucking
so
hilarious.
cool. So I'm holding an AK-47, she's holding an AK-47. You're like, we got the best Toyotas, and I can be doing that like terrorist turkey gobble thing. You know what I mean? We're
He's
like,
good at it.
Enough. At ISIS Toyota, we have nothing to do with Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and his vicious gang of thugs. All we're trying to do is put you into an affordable, pre-owned, certified Toyota.
people don't respect you.
To the youngsters, I know you're
Is that
having
Keeves,
fun.
the guy with the
I used to
button?
have fun myself, but there's something you need to know. Stuff like that, that's a load of crap. That's a load of crap.
Can I be in a commercial?
No.
Come on, why not?
Why?
It's because I'm black?
No, it's not because it's because your name is
Orenthal James Anderson. And at ISIS, we don't price gouge. But if we find a competitor with a lower price, we'll kill them.
Cut that. We're not doing this.
You don't love OJ? What are you saying? He did it?
No.
Oh, he's a
God damn it. All I'm trying to do is get you into a Toyota.
We made this.
Jesus Christ. Put this
great?
away. Put this away.
We're in the commercial.
Look at it.
Where's this in the commercial? Why not? I wore it on the bus here, dude. You know how hard that was for me?
You wore this on the bus?
Yes, I had to bring it
That's
here.
dedication.
Do you know how hard that is to get off? Costs more than the damn car.
Like you're
That's
blowing it here.
dedication.
Like you're really, yes.
Would you quit it? Quit it. I'm losing money on half these things. Because you and your punk-ass kids come down and fuck with our shit.
You want an AK-47?
Stop fucking with our Toyotas. Come down and buy them like a man.
Advice is issues.
I'm under a lot of fucking stress.
I'll go fucking nuts. We are closed on 9/11.
If your dad was real ISIS, you'd be up in heaven right now, covered in virgins.
Yeah.
But instead, you're a fat fucking virgin covered in used Toyotas.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay? So,
I'd like to
what do you
fucking
got?
rip
Oh my God!
Come down to ISIS Toyota or I'll fucking kill myself and everybody here.
Honestly,
Dude,
it's
he's
such
so
a good
funny.
sketch. I think, like, I don't know. Like, this guy's a fucking genius. I love Shane.
So funny, dude. I've never seen that one. That one's great.
All right, y'all, settle down. Take your seats. Now, as most of you know, our conference has decided to integrate this
That
season.
looked old, though. How long's he been doing this?
Settle down. As long as I'm head coach of Chapel Creek, I promise you this will be a white football team.
That's right.
That's a great sketch too. So he goes on. He goes, it's like during the integration times, like you know that movie Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Where they started bringing black players on. So he's like, we're gonna be a white team. We're gonna be a completely white team. And then he starts bringing black people on, and they start winning. And then he's like, he totally changes his tune. He's like, it's gonna be an all black team. It's he's very good. Shane's really good. Proud of Shane. I think it's like a full circle. I think it was a good moment for comedy.
Oh, but that was a great 8 minutes. That monologue was a great 8 minutes.
Great monologue. I don't know that it was. The one thing I would criticize about it was that he did a joke that I'd seen in his special. It was pretty much the Down syndrome one where like that nicked me. It hit me. In the special, he goes and talks about his uncle Danny who's got Down syndrome. On SNL, he talked about his niece who was like I guess a newborn baby that got Down syndrome, and so it's like literally he's got more than one person with Down syndrome in his family, which is kind of rare.
If it's true, that's what I'd like to know. You think it is true that he has more than one?
He claims it. I don't know if that was just for the joke, but I mean that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do a little more research on him. I don't know much about him. Minus that you told me he was funny. I started looking into him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get on to the Shane train.
Thank you, Fake Carl. Our screen on the number 4.
So yeah, there we go. The SNL, Shane on SNL. That was awesome. I first time I think I was like, I gotta check SNL tonight.
That's the first time in a long time for me. Maybe the last time, unless they keep getting more comics like him. If they don't, then I probably won't watch it again.
Who's that?
I'm just saying, if SNL doesn't, I probably that's the first time in a long time that I've watched it. I said, but if they keep getting comics like that, I may continue to watch. But if they don't, I probably won't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting host. I just think the cast is really kind of, There's just too much diversity.
Is that the issue?
I just think it's like diversity for the sake of diversity isn't good. If everyone was really funny on the show, I wouldn't care what their background was. But it was just like, oh, here's the token Asian guy. Here's the
funny's funny, right?
Funny's funny, but like I noticed that the girls they're casting on the show are hot. Like they're attractive ladies.
That's interesting, huh?
It used to be like they used to get like Sherry or Terry and Molly Shannon, who were like they weren't ugly, but they were just like funny. Like they were like very.
They were
physical.
just too funny to not worry about being hot.
They were never like look at Molly Shannon and be like, oh my god, that girl's so hot. But
I kind of find Molly Shannon attractive though, bro.
You can find her attractive, but like I didn't see her on that show like that. Like these girls today that they're on the show, I'm like, wow. There's one bit there was one sketch called Fuglia, which was like a sex doll that was ugly. It was like they were marketing a sex doll that was on
not
SNL?
SNL?
Attractive. Yeah, it was on last night.
Oh, I didn't catch that part.
and he was like, my old sex doll was much hotter than me, and I always felt intimidated and couldn't perform. But now look at Fuglia, and I'm like, and they had like the hot girls on the show, like dress like pretend they were like a sex doll, and I'm like, she's supposed to be ugly, and I'm like, she's not that ugly. Like she still looks hot. Like
they couldn't even ugly her down.
They couldn't even make her ugly. They tried to. It just was like, she's sexy. I don't even know who these girls are. I just saw them for the first time last night. I'm like, there's attractive ladies on SNL.
Yes, sir. Well, attractive enough to keep watching. Maybe that's their ploy. They get hot girls because the comedy stinks to try to get people to watch the show.
I mean, I might watch next week. Maybe it's turned a corner. Maybe they're gonna start,
I think that's
edging it up.
Maybe that's their hope with this. Maybe this is the turning stone, TSN turning point.
I think they need to. I think the show's getting such bad ratings that they, it's getting to the point where they're like, should we cancel this? We can get bigger ratings with like fucking.
Should we dig up Gilbert and bring him back?
Gilbert.
That's the only edgy comic I could think of right now off the top of my head.
He's dead.
That's why I said dig him up. That was the joke.
Oh boy.
I should get Ben Bankus on the show.
Yeah, it's maybe a matter of time. Ben's gonna be touring. A big shout out to Ben. Ben just got his U.S. visa. He's gonna be touring the States, starting in March.
That is big news, bro. He's basically cracked he's probably Canada's, would you say, top comic?
I think so. I mean,
I think he's hilarious. I love Ben. I think he's one of the funniest guys I've met.
He sells out every show really much in Canada at this point, and got quite a big following, more than most comedians in Toronto. And his tickets went on sale, I think, a couple of days ago, and he's already almost sold out of a bunch of shows. Like New Jersey's almost sold out, New York's almost sold out. So.
I wonder how they're going to probably love him in the States even more than here, is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I've been saying this about Ben for the last, 5 years, Mike?
4 or 5 years, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
so. Buddy, he's fucking awesome. He's Canada's best comic, in my opinion. But
Ben's a great comic, very, very funny, very edgy, and very brave soul.
Yeah, he is not scared to say what's on his mind.
Okay, Mike, I think it's time to talk about this Bud Light thing.
Shane Gillis kind of rolls right into this, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, because Bud Light has, in order to get back their frat boy
image
customer, their clientele and that frat boy image, they've hired Shane Gillis to be like their spokesperson or like their, what do you call it, like ambassador or something?
I guess the same thing they were kind of doing with Mulvaney or whatever. I think it's the same
I don't think it was, no.
No, totally.
They never gave Mulvaney this kind of deal.
Well, I think they might have if it would have went well, but it kind of went south.
I don't know what the deal with the Mulvaney thing was. They put her face on a can, and it was like a semi-promotional thing. This thing what they gave Shane is like, he's like the new face of Bud Light. So like he's going to be in every commercial. He's going to be, going to events. Like he's sponsored by Bud Light out of his comedy shows. It's a very different
They're
kind of
literally going right back to the frat boy image because his comedy is literally what college kids would love.
Absolutely. Bud Light, I mean, Shane Gillis is a beer drinker's guy. Like he's definitely frat boy.
He looks like he could pound a 6-pack.
He does. You got to see him on. He did a podcast on Barstool where he gets loaded, and it's really great. It's really great. But so Bud Light is trying to, I guess, escape the gay. The gayness that it's become because they've lost billions of dollars.
Well, they still do the pride cans. Like, that's why I didn't understand the play with having to go with the trans. So, like, Mike knows my stance on this, and a lot of my friends do.
Well, tell the audience.
Okay, yeah. So at first, like, Bud Light, like me and Mike have already discussed, said they wanted to get away from that image and attract a younger demographic. They wanted to get rid of that frat boy image, which they thought getting a trans person would attract more a younger demographic, and like obviously that didn't sit with me because I don't like it, and I kind of like in a weird way felt offended by it, like a bunch of people did, whether they're scared to say it or not. They were offended because it's not something that's normal and it's out of the blue. Now
it's crazy.
Thank you. It is crazy. Now, when I think as time's gone on, because this is now what, a year and a half later.
About that, yeah.
Okay, like time's gone on, and I've gotten over the whole, kind of trans weird thing for the thing. But to me, as I kept thinking, because people are like, oh, it's over, Mike, it's over. You can start drinking. I went to the point for some people it never even fucking started, first of all. They gave up Bud Light. Yes, it was a Bud Light boycott. But like Anheuser-Busch still has numerous products. I and Mike can attest to this, have given up. Anheuser-Busch products. I will not drink them.
Mike is the most hardcore I've ever seen. He will not drink an Anheuser-Busch product, any product from Anheuser-Busch. Like, and he loves some of the beers, like Land Shark and
I like Land Shark, Goose Island.
Goose Island.
I mean, they make some good products. And Bud Light used to be, or Bud itself was the king of beers. And I would always start with, a nice tasty, and then I would move to those as my beers for the rest of the night. Okay, but now, like I said, the trans thing rubbed me the wrong way at first, like it did millions of people apparently.
You boycotted it.
I did, and I still to this day am boycotting it. But I thought deeper into it. Like I said, a year and a half, 2 years later, I mean, the trans shit bothered me. But like to me, beer is something to be enjoyed, an excuse to spend time with friends and family. And now Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch, let's say, has now taken that away from us and made it, when I hang with my friends or was my friends or family, they've made it an argument or political. And now I can't forgive them for that because now they've ruined beer drinking into a certain point when someone's drinking a Bud Light or an Anheuser-Busch product. It is now like an argument or a political thing. And they've ruined beer, and I will no longer knowingly drink Anheuser-Busch products because they've ruined beer drinking for some people, especially me when friends get together and someone's got a Bud Light and they're, hey, stop being a fag, or, hey, why are you drinking that, right? You know what I mean? You've been hearing people get into arguments, and they've ruined beer drinking to a certain point. So now if those products aren't around, and let's be honest, there's tons of other products that are just as good as the domestic piss that Bud Light is putting out.
But you were saying to me that you still think it's gay. You still boycott it. Like you're not buying the Shane Gillis thing.
Oh yeah, because they went from transgender to trans fat. That's not an apology.
No
offense to Shane. I'm a fat guy too. I'm a little heavy too, Shane. Me and you have a very similar build.
It's true.
But like,
it's a good joke, Mike. It's a very good joke.
I do like that joke. But like, I mean, like, I just like they've ruined it. And I mean, even still to this day, someone will come in and a good friend of mine will say, "Why are you drinking that Bud Light?" to another friend. What are you, gay? I mean, it's just, and then it starts a whole debacle. And Mike knows I hate political talk, but this whole world we're living in a political world.
Yeah, it's getting too political.
Now you've taken that Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch, you've stolen that from me. And you can't be forgiven.
There's nothing they can do to redeem themselves. There's nothing they can do to get you back as a customer, Mike.
Like I said, Mike, I mean, I will not knowingly drink a Anheuser-Busch product, and nothing can get it back because I found other beers now to substitute after my craft couple. I can switch to a Miller Lite or any other beer. There's just as good as beers. I mean, there's Labatt. I've now taken a liking to Labatt. So whatever, man. I'm not over it, but I am kind of.
It doesn't sound like you're over it, and it doesn't. You said you'll never get over it. You'll never go back to drinking the beer.
I don't need it. That's it.
All right.
They've stolen something that can't be replaced. Now it's always going to be a political thing because we never forget.
I don't think you need to defend your stance. I don't think you need to be like justify it. I think you can drink whatever the fuck you want, and if for whatever reason you want, I don't think you need to qualify that shit. But I do notice that like a lot of the times we go to fucking sporting events, concerts, that's all they have. And that actually happened to us where like we were at which concert was that, Mike? Was the hip hop show?
Oh, in Rochester, New York. Yeah.
And we go to the beer booth and they only have is Bud Light. And Mike's like, no. And then I
walked 3 floors up.
They go.
We were on the floor.
He goes, I don't drink that. And then he goes, is there other beers? And they're like, yeah, there's like another stand that has these options.
Genesee, because we're in Rochester, right?
And so Mike walked another like 20 minutes to go get a different beer. That's how committed he was to not getting this fucking Bud Light. Whereas I'm like,
I'm just saying.
and for me, I'm like, well, it's the only beer you have here. Like, I'll just take
That's why I said it. For some people, it was never really a boycott. What do you got to say there, Fake Carl?
Is it only for the beer, or what about Budweiser Stage? Would you still go to?
That's a good, very, very good point. Like I said, I will knowingly not try to do that, but yeah, I have been to a concert at Well, actually, since the boycott, I have not, but that wasn't because it's just they have no acts that I wanted to go see there.
Yeah.
That's why.
How's the camera switching going, Fake Carl? I noticed you're not switching much. Your hand should really be on those buttons the whole time. And don't leave it on a camera for too long. I said don't switch too fast, but don't make it boring where it's on this one camera for, too long.
He's learning. It's hard to
I know, but it's like we have one shot at recording. We can't go back and re-edit.
I know.
So I just want to make sure you're.
Just do your best, fake Carl.
Just do your best, fake Carl. We got a new producer in studio today, and we're calling him Fake Carl.
Yeah,
because he's not really Carl. Because Carl abandoned us.
Yes, he did.
It's all.
You knew that was coming, right?
Yeah. Okay, so
So, anyways, Bud Light is to us is still gay. That's all I'm saying. I mean, they've stolen friends and family discussions and ruined beer drinking when they come out. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you could say Bud Light did that, but you're the one that took the stance.
Yeah, they did do that. You don't think that they made, if you were holding a Bud or an Anheuser-Busch product at one point and it became argumentative between certain people? Me, I would just say, why are you drinking that? And I would not argue with people.
Buddy, you're the one that always says, I don't drink that shit. Why are you drinking that? It's gay.
Literally what I just said. And then I move along. I don't argue with people. I tell them that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And
you make a point of telling people not to drink the beer. So it's not just something that you don't care about. It's like, you're like, you shouldn't drink this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
I get your point. I agree with that. I'm just saying.
It's going to give you AIDS, I think you told somebody.
I've never said that. I would never wish that upon anybody. That's awful.
No, you said
Remember Vincent Gallo?
You said the beer's so gay it'll give you AIDS.
I've never said that. That's actually a good line, though. I think you just thought of that one on the spot. Well,
no, I think I've heard that.
Not for me.
I don't know.
It's actually really funny. I'm going to start using that, actually.
Okay, well, I
Anyways,
agree with
good-
you.
good.
I mean, I think that I think Chris was it Kid Rock, not Chris Rock, Kid Rock, taking a semi-automatic rifle and opening up.
That was super entertaining, by the way.
Letting it rip on a case of Bud Light was like that's what got this whole movement started. Where people are like, "Fuck Bud Light, they're done."
Yeah.
No more. We're putting trans. I think the biggest thing that bugged me about it was like, trans people don't drink your beer. They don't.
Or maybe they do. I don't know. What's the difference? if they
Trans
do or
people don't drink beer.
I don't
They
know.
drink cocktails. I think that's what they like. They like cocktails.
See, he's just thinking of these up. Where'd you write these?
They
last
don't
night? They're
drink
good.
beer. Have you seen a fucking tranny drink a beer before?
Maybe I don't know. To be honest, they're so well disguised now.
I don't think that Dylan Mulvaney's ever had a Bud Light in her life.
Yeah.
She was just stoked to have her face on a can. She was like, "Look at me, Bud Light loves me."
I would have loved to do that. Well, they had some sort of deal with her, and the worst part was they put it during March Madness too, like the most manly time of the year for gamblers, and that's who they decided to pair up. No, I don't know if they took a boycott or not, but that boycott still exists. Like Bud Light is still feeling the repercussions of that boycott.
They apparently lost billions.
Yes,
like billions.
And they'll say that they were going down anyways. Bud Light was not, but they went way quicker than they thought it was going to be. And let's see if Shane Gillis can turn around. I think Shane Gillis is a funny dude, but like I said, that's not really an apology. Not that they owe anybody an apology. They fucked up. They fired people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike.
I get you. Well, I think it's time we should take a little shutdown and
get our guest buddy.
Yeah.
Talk him up a bit. Let's get this guy on here. I'm excited.
Coming up, we have Tyler Morrison. This guy, you might not have seen him. You've probably heard him.
You've probably heard some of his jokes.
You've definitely heard his jokes. Tyler is in good company. He's been a comedian for a number of years now. He's traveled, toured, opened, and written for some of the biggest comedic names in the biz.
Example?
Andrew Schultz.
Beautiful.
He's worked with Bob Kelly. He's worked with Shane Gillis. Actually, he's sent me pictures of him and Shane hanging out. He's performed with Shane a few times.
So he writes jokes for them is what we're saying, right?
No, I don't know if he writes jokes for Shane. I don't think he writes jokes for Shane, but he wrote. So Andrew Schultz has this podcast, Flagrant, and he also does these little rants where he goes off rapid fire topic, like on something topical on jokes. He taps my guy, Tyler Morrison, for jokes, and Tyler will text him a bunch of jokes, and Andrew will use the ones he likes, and he'll pay him.
I'm excited. Again, you turned me on.
I didn't even know Andrew had a ghostwriter, but I guess I'm leaking that here.
I'm assuming they kind of all work together, bro. I think it's like a whole community, unless you're Cat Williams. You don't work with anybody else.
Cat doesn't have any ghostwriters, I don't think.
No.
I mean, generally comedians don't, but a lot of them do. Like John Lovitz, I don't think wrote any of his own shit.
I don't think they're considered ghostwriters. I think just people like they work together, kind of like when we sit and write stuff. We're kind of
No, it's totally ghostwriting.
Yeah,
100%. If you're telling a joke and you're not giving someone credit, like
he
why would
doesn't
you
give
do?
him credit?
You wouldn't do that in the middle of a joke. You would be like, I didn't write that. This guy wrote it. You won't do that.
Does he give credit anywhere else?
What do
Like,
you
hey,
mean?
this is my boy Tyler. Like, I don't know. I don't know the dynamic between Schultz and Tyler. Does he ever say, "Oh, this guy's fucking great"? That would be the prop.
I'm sure you'd say nice things about him, but
I think that's the unwritten rule. Then you help me, and then I just scratch your back later saying you're a cool dude.
no, he pays him.
Oh,
he
fuck.
gives him money for the jokes.
So he's paying him.
He pays him, yeah.
Yeah, that's good then. He's getting something.
Well, Tyler, like these jokes are just like, like seems like easy to him. It's like water off a duck's back. Like he's just.
What term is that?
I don't even know.
I've never heard that before.
I don't know. I'm a little out of it today.
Water off. What does that mean?
Water off a duck's back, it like beads off. It's like no big deal.
Oh, I actually kind of like that now.
You never heard that term before?
No.
The fuck?
Hey, Fake Carl, you heard that term before?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, fuck. I guess
Yeah.
I'm the other one.
'Cause he's lived on the planet like for.
Buddy, I'm so in the dark now, buddy. I barely leave my house.
Yeah, Mike's not a social guy.
Nah, no more, bro. I was happy with COVID. Anyways, let's go. Let's get Tyler on the phone.
All right,
Let's get him
we'll
on
be
the phone.
back with Tyler Morrison, everybody. All right, we're back, everybody, with our guest, Tyler Morrison. Fucking joke man killer. This guy, Tyler, pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, no. This
This
the
is
best,
awesome.
man. This
I'm
is
super
great.
excited.
So, what's going on in the world of Tyler Morrison these days? I know you got some shows coming up. We want to pick your brain on a couple of topics, but
Sure.
just kind of give us a rundown of what's coming up for Tyler.
Yeah, so I've been doing just a Canadian tour called the Running Rampant Tour. Been working on that and kind of just taking it across. Like I was just up in Northern Ontario this weekend. Had shows in Timmins and Sudbury, and then I had a show get canceled last night because there wasn't enough snow and no one could snowmobile to the bar.
That's fucking crazy.
Global warming is real, apparently.
I'm for global warming. I like the warmth.
I'm doing that. I have a new stand-up special that's going to be coming out this week. Actually, I don't know when this airs, but it's going to be out on Tube. It's called Pimp Daddy, and that comes out on Wednesday, the 28th. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's received.
I'm stoked to see that too, man. I can't wait to see your special.
Yeah, we shot it a while ago. There's a little bit of bullshit happened in post-production, but we got it on track and finally it's coming out. So I'm excited.
Nice.
Was that the one? Was that the one I sent you footage that I shot for you? Was that part?
No,
of it?
that's it. That I'm gonna do that one also. I'm gonna put that one out soon. That's just like a 20-minute kind of mini special. This one's like a 40-minute one that I shot in a theater.
Oh,
so it should be
nice.
Nice.
lots of content coming out soon. If you're a fan of my comedy, it's
I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, you're hilarious. I've been telling Mike that you're one of the best joke writers I've ever met and I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, you're incredible. Like, it's just amazing, like how you could take a topic, any topic, and just come up with joke after joke after joke after joke. It's just incredible. It's like a real pro at work. You could see it. You could see why
He's
who
quick.
you are and everyone else isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love just kind of coming up with as many different angles on a joke, seeing how you can, flesh it out or expand it. Yeah, I started off really sort of as a lot more one-liner type comedian, and then, you get into those longer sets, and it's hard to do that. And I could do it, but it's really a lot of memory work. So what I would do is I'd sort of I'd have that one joke that I come up with, and I'd write tags to it and multiple jokes on the subject, and it just becomes a bigger bit. And but really, if you watch my comedy, you can see that like every line is designed for a laugh. There's so many.
It's like rapid fire, like
punchlines.
like laugh after laugh after laugh. It's like
You're hurting
that
after
pace
you
of-
leave his show. Your stomach.
Oh man, like it is. He's very, very funny. Like every joke, you're right. It just lands and it's next after next. It's like rapid. It's just really you don't have a ton of time to get up for air. with this guy because he's just
I
bombarding.
try and create a wave of momentum. I want it to be, I want it to be wild in there.
You got 40 minutes of that.
40 minutes. Yeah.
Wow, that's hard to do.
So, and then the pimp dash, it's a little bit more. I would say it's a little bit less like the stuff that you guys have maybe seen of mine. It's a little bit because it's in a theater. I do a little bit more facial expressions. You can let the jokes breathe a little bit more in the theater. It's sort of it looks a little bit like a Louis special actually. Just it's very stripped down. It's simple and it's it's not a lot of bells and whistles. It's just comedy in a theater and it's fun. I do some more stories too. I tell a little bit more long form in it.
That's great.
But there's definitely lots of punchlines. That was the one thing when I started doing some more storytelling is I wanted to make sure that the laughs were still in that story all the way through, right? Like I still don't want to go too long without laughs. It's important to be that's what they came for, right?
Exactly. And I think it also fuels you as a comedian, right? Like it gives you that kind of feedback that you long for really as a comedian. You want that laughter and it keeps you in that headspace that keeps it going, right? That keeps that momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, up there, the leader of the party and these people, that's what they came to do. They came to laugh. So, seeing comedians up there doing a lot of self-indulgent horse shit always pisses me off.
I mean, I love hearing about a comedian's process, and it seems like obviously it's so well thought out. A lot of people don't appreciate that. They just kind of go up and see you doing jokes, and they think that's just, it's just kind of a, it's like not. They don't probably see as much thought that actually.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that, right?
A lot of people probably think that, right? Because he makes it look so effortless. But I'm just always interested in the process and how that comes to be. And so when did just like let's get a backstory here. So when did you start comedy?
I started comedy when I was 18. First show I ever did was at Yuck Yucks in Toronto. 300 people, packed house. I'm just in college. It would have been 2002, the fall of 2002. So I've been doing this for just over 20 years.
Wow.
And that was the first time I ever did it. And it was, my first set, I fucking killed. And I was hooked after that. That was like the worst because I'm chasing the dragon for like 2-3 years after that show to try and, feel that high again.
Do any of those jokes from your first set still make it into your act, or
are they cringy?
No, I'll tell you right now, some of those I could do today and they would fucking kill.
Yeah. That's amazing.
One of my first jokes, I did it on my special in 2020, just as just kind of for me. I had a joke about how I got fired from Taco Bell because I wouldn't give a kid in a wheelchair the walk-in special. Like, you can't walk in, you're not special. You roll your ass on down to the drive-thru.
Jeez.
Fucking Meals on Wheels.
Oh fuck. See, this is what I mean. Like, you have a premise, and then it's like tag after tag after tag.
Yeah, and that was for my first year of comedy, and I always thought it was funny, but I never put it out on anything. Like, I hadn't done it for years, and I was just setting up this special it's called Too Soon. It's on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. But I was setting that up, and I'm like, you know what? Like, this is a funny fucking joke. I haven't put it on any of my other shit. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Fuck it. And then it like destroys on the show. But there's a guy who's in a wheelchair in the show who got like, I guess I thought he was just playing with me when he yelled out. Like, he yells out in the show, and I thought he was just playing along, because usually if you make jokes about someone in a wheelchair or whatever in the crowd, it's like the audience that gets weak about it. They're like, they're looking at that person for permission to laugh, and they're usually killing themselves laughing because they feel like they're included. But this guy, I guess, wasn't ready to laugh about his shit, and I fucking totally understand. Like, sometimes it's like, that's a shitty thing to have happen to you, and it wasn't like he was born like that. It was I think it was a pretty fresh hit, and so I do have empathy for this guy, but he yelled out and he goes, what, you don't like the wheels on my chair, bro? And I just stop and I look at him like, what, you're in a wheelchair? Stand up so we can see you. And it was just so fast. I had no time to think. I was just like playing along, But it was like, when you see the clip, you're like, oh, that was like the fastest gun in the West type shit. Like it doesn't always happen that
Right.
that nice. But
Yeah.
the fact that it was on the special was good. I felt like Val Kilmer in Tombstone. And he was, but I guess he was upset. Like they had to carry him out of the fucking show because it's in Yuck Yucks, Toronto, and it's like, it's like
Yeah.
like
It's like downstairs in the like a basement. Yeah.
I wonder if he went to Taco Bell afterwards.
Yeah. Oh
funny,
my
man.
there were just so many people that were walking out during the taping. It was a fucking bloodbath. That whole special was.
To me, that means you're doing something right.
Approximately 30 people, I think, walked because they're upset. And then there was like my fans that were there were getting kicked out because they were too drunk. So very on brand.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you walked a room like before? Like, have you done that many times?
Oh, buddy. So the first big walkathon was I was performing in Toronto. It was the Gladstone Hotel. So it's a little bit of a hipper, Queen
I know
West.
Gladstone. Yeah, it's right. Queen
West.
Yeah,
it's like Queen and Dufferin. Is that where it is? Or Dufferin and
It's a little further from the Drake Hotel. Like I think it's like
yes,
yeah.
Yeah, so it used to be there's like this side room there, and the side room at the Drake or not the Drake, sorry, at the Gladstone was a good little space for comedy.
Yeah.
But it is a very hipster spot, and to give you an example of how hipster this room is, that night we couldn't do comedy in the side room because someone had double booked a poetry reading.
Oh boy.
so the poetry dudes are all in this little in the show space where we normally do. So we had to do our show out in the bar. Okay. The bar area. And no one knows that comedy's about to happen. So it's a little bit of a comedy ambush when that happens with an open mic. No one gives a fuck.
Right.
And people were, I would say this, they didn't care about the comedy, but they certainly weren't being respectful that, hey, there is a performance going on.
Right.
And so I was kind of annoyed by this. And that's when all the poetry people, their show let out and they came into the space. Now, the host who was hosting, Sarah Hennessy, very good friend of mine, longtime friend. We started out together in comedy. She was emceeing, and I remember people were blocking her from getting to the stage. Like they were in her way. Like there was just no act. And so when she brought me up, I think I was the first or second comic, and everyone's just talking and being rude during the show. I fucking unloaded on this crowd, and
I wish I was there.
I think I walked 50 people.
Holy shit, that's amazing.
But it was
crowd.
Yeah, it was every single audience member except for the comics, and probably a couple comics.
That's great.
But all the comics that were sitting at our table before I watched them get up and move to another table because they didn't want to associate with me. They're pissed off at me for walking the audience, but really I was just I was fucking doing vigilante justice on that fucking room.
Yeah.
So all these guys get up like little weenies, and you guys are, you've been around Ben Bankus, so you see kind of how these type of people operate and disassociate, and they, they're really snooty about it. Well, that was happening to me way back then. So I have an appreciation for comics that have to deal with this, and I remember going back down. The only two people that didn't get up were Jeff McHenry, who's one of the fucking best ever in Canada. Check him out. And K. Trevor Wilson from Letterkenny. Obviously, people know him. He's great. And they didn't get up. They stayed at the table. So I went over to the bar and I just bought a whole bunch of pitchers and just put them right down on the fucking table to let everyone know that these guys are drinking for fun. I mean, I was in overdraft. I had no money at the time. I was fucking broke. I bought those guys drinks all night long just to fucking rush little douchebag comics.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I actually find that comedy, there's an honor involved. I know Ben doesn't like to even though, we all have our opinions of other comics stuff, he doesn't like to trash other comics. And then when a comic's doing a set, if you're a comic, you're just respectful. You're just be respectful of this comic doing their set. And I think that there's this kind of code, right? Where, we each show each other respect because that's what we'd all want, right? It's kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. And then when you long enough, I think that you start to realize that, like, okay, so when you're coming up, you're thinking, okay, maybe I'm like a darker, dirty edge comic, and these guys are like little hipster, alt comics or whatever. And you don't really associate in the same circles, but at a certain point, like the weak ones fucking fall off. Like the good ones are still around.
Right.
From when you were, the guy at comedy, and you just all comics and you respect each other. So it's like you respect the real ones that stick in it, and we don't all have to be the same style. That's what makes comedy great, is everyone's all different styles. That's what it's about, is being different and sharing your unique vision with crowds, and other comics. They can take it or leave it, but it's at a certain stage you realize, oh, we're all kind of running our own race here, and it's cool to see, oh, this guy's been in it, he really cares about this, so there isn't the petty bullshit that you see on the way up, and like the posturing. It's all fucking, it's nonsense. I'm friends with Chris Locke and Tom Henry and those guys. When I see them, I got nothing but respect for those guys. They're the, Adam Christie, one of the funniest fucking dudes. They're all different style of comedy. But they're real comics, and they're running the race. You don't need to fucking tear down people. They maybe they do, maybe. I don't know what people say behind your back, but when I run into them, I fucking love those guys.
Well, it's almost like paying
dudes.
your dues too, right? Like you have a mutual respect because, like, wow, you've been doing this 20 years, so you've seen the same shit I've seen and dealt with the same fucking morons probably sometimes in the crowd. So there's a mutual respect that way, I would assume.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the biggest?
Well, we all joke about each other, like we bust balls. That's like a part of respect. You know what I mean? But then there's guys. Yeah, there are guys who don't really fucking respect, and they clown too. But at the end of the day, when you run into these guys, you're just like, oh, that guy's that guy's not so fucking bad. I built that up in my mind. That guy's a fucking
right.
So it's not that.
In your opinion, like, what do you think of the Toronto comedy scene?
Toronto comedy scene, I think overall, we have one of the best comedy scenes in the world, but I do think that there is an overwhelming pressure, or the word pressure might not be the word, but like there's people concede to doing safer jokes because of the lack of opportunity in this country. In America, there's so much more industry and opportunity that that the industry have to compete. So the industry plays a little bit more to the public. In Canada, it's just like six or there's not many big there's not many big festivals. There's not many TV. Is my internet messed up?
We've had a bunch of dropouts a little bit. It's a little bit choppy, but I thought it was Mike's Wi-Fi. But maybe, I don't know. Where are you located, Tyler?
I'm in Bracebridge. I'm up in Muskoka. It's probably my Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
just kind of.
It's his feed. It's not. I don't hear us cutting out. You know what I mean?
So let me know if I need to go
he's
back.
He's responding to our questions instantly. You know what I mean? You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah. So what I was saying was, because there isn't so many opportunities and jobs for people who are in the industry plays it safer. So it creates safer because they don't want to be. I do think that there is like a negative light quite often on dark and dirty comics in Canada from within the community. So, but overall, it's a big enough scene that there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody can eat.
Yeah, but there's like,
and there's
is it like you've been all over you've been all over the States, right? And like, do you find that like, I know in Toronto there's a definitely dichotomy of like there's these woke, like you say, hipster kind of woke comics, left comics, and then there's the right comics, and like they seem to not like each other, right? Is that kind of the same way in every kind of market, or is it the same way in the States, or is it kind of like different?
I mean, it's hard to say. I haven't spent so much time in the States that I've seen the inner workings of like the scene politics. I do know that it, like, in Canada, the people that, like I said, the people that don't really like each other are just the insecure comics that are on the way up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the good comics who are secure with each other that are funny,
Yeah.
they pretty much are cool with everyone. There's not too many real assholes that have succeeded. There's a few along the way, but
Right.
ultimately, yeah, I think, in Canada or in Toronto especially, there's just so many comics that there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
And
And
you can form your own scene. I think anything else is just like, that's insecure people, and you're gonna get that in comedy because comics are insecure
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, no, that's true. They're a tortured group. You've worked with some really big names. Like I remember the one night you were sending me some shots, some photos of you with some of my favorite comedians. You had pictures with you and Bob Kelly. You had pictures with you and Shane Gillis. We were just talking about Shane earlier on the show. Who are some of your favorite current comedians that you just like, you fucking love working with? They're just like the funniest guys off the stage. You know what I mean? Like who are your favorites?
Yeah, so I mean, in Canada, Mike Wilmot, absolute weapon. He's one of my favorite people, and he's a very big. He was a big supporter of mine, and certainly gave me some great advice coming up. And just to get to work with him is always a treat. I think he's one of the most. I think in terms of pure stand-up comedy, he's the best to ever touch the mic in Canada. I mean, Norm Macdonald obviously is unreal too,
That's
but
my
like
favorite, yeah.
for stand up, man, Wilmot is a monster. Like that guy's unreal. So I love him. Tom O'Donnell, who's not a big name, but he's like when you guys get to see Tommy, he's one of the funniest natural killers I've ever seen. Like on podcasts and stuff like that, he's one of the wildest dudes. Me and him have a new podcast coming out too. It's called The Main Offenders. And so he's gonna be my sidekick on that. And we got some really funny behind the scenes shit that we're gonna be dropping. In terms of like the bigger names, guys that I really enjoy. Always had good times with Shane Gillis. Anytime I've got to work with him, we have a good time partying.
You guys seem like the same guy.
Often,
Yeah,
honestly,
I was just gonna say they look very similar if he shaved his beard.
Just like I know, Tyler seems to me like you seem like, I don't know you super well, Tyler, but you seem to me like you're the all like not like an all American, all Canadian. Like you are like a very Canadian, like grass. I don't know what the salt, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Even the way he wears his hat reminds me of how a Canadian would wear his hat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, like you like hockey. Obviously, you got Slapshot poster in the back
with an American flag though.
With an American. I think
it's Guns N' Roses. It's a Guns N' Roses.
So I'm like to the other side. You got the Slapshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like I just think you figure like you like hockey, you like beer, you're like a real Canadian. Like you're just like the salt of the earth, like kind of like Shane is like likes football and beer. I don't know, football, beer, hockey.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, we don't fuck around.
Yeah. Did you watch him on SNL last night?
I did. Yeah.
What'd you think?
He did a great job. I thought it was really funny. Saturday Night Live's always got their pros and cons. That the opening sketch that he wasn't in was fucking like really corny.
It was bad, dude.
But then when he did his monologue, it was like, that's exactly what I thought he did a great job.
I thought he
super
killed it.
I thought his monologue was awesome.
Yeah, it was a very funny
I thought it was really good. It was endearing too. I think the people that hate Shane Gillis, when you watch that, how do you fucking hate that guy? That guy's a fucking he's a really good guy, man. And he's cool. And so I was hyped to see that. You mentioned Bobby Kelly. Bobby Kelly's always been super fucking cool to me. Like I did his podcast in New York. I think I sucked on that one, but but I do think Bobby is a gem. He's so funny off stage. Like he's like old school New York ball buster type guy.
He's very quick.
I love hanging out with guys like that.
So I met him like 6 years ago, and I was really in good shape at the time. And he goes to me, he goes, man, you're really fit. And I go, yeah. I go, you know what the secret is? He goes, what, AIDS? That was pretty funny. I was like, I didn't have a good comeback for him.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I was like, no, I don't have AIDS.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah. But, he's very quick, very funny guy. I saw him at the Underground Comedy Club. Did you ever perform there? The Underground Comedy Club
Yeah,
in
I
Toronto?
performed at Underground a bunch of times. Yeah, it was fun.
I don't think it's still around
cool.
anymore, is it?
No, it went under after it's ironically once pot legal in Canada, all that shit got shut down. So
yeah, fucking Trudeau. I was gonna ask you too about like, do you have like a threshold in terms, or like, what's the barometer for deciding whether a joke goes too far or not? Do you know, or do you just don't care?
That's a good question. I think if it's not killing, then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the joke's not going anywhere, and then maybe it's not worth being in the set. That's really just it's like I want to kill. I don't care if like I'm not trying to offend people. I want to be able to take people with me. And if I'm losing them, it's because maybe the joke isn't there yet, or I have to figure out a way to get there. You know what I mean? Like I have to figure out what's the bridge that I got to build to get them to come with me into this dark land.
Right.
And sometimes, you don't have that bridge yet. Yeah. Sometimes everyone's falling in the fucking moat. but yeah, it's more about I just want to be funny, and I want to be pure funny. Sometimes people aren't going to like it though.
What do you think?
That's on them too sometimes.
What do you think,
definitely?
What do you think your best joke is right now?
Ooh, right now, that's a good question. That's new in the set.
Yeah, I guess what's one of your like your favorites, like your darlings? You're just like, I just love this joke.
You know what? This is an older one, but I'll tell you an older one because this one's just like sort of like my bar for how like it's a hard one to. I don't know if I could ever write a joke as funny as this one to me.
Okay.
Personally. I go one time I hit my ex-girlfriend in the face with a baseball bat. Hear me out. It was an accident. I was at a party, all hammered with some friends, and there's a piñata there. My buddy takes out a Louisville Slugger. He hands it to me. He's like, dude, you got to take a crack at this thing. Honestly, I have no idea how I drove all the way to her house with that blindfold on.
I like that joke. That's good.
She looked like a donkey. That's like I like the misdirection of it.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's a good joke.
Yeah,
it paints a visual picture too, so you're sort of like it draws them in. I like that.
I like that.
And then it also incorporates. All my favorite jokes incorporate domestic violence. Really.
What's that say about you?
Well, I was gonna say like your special's called Pimp Daddy. What's that about? Like, where's that coming from?
So Pimp Daddy was I'll tell you the story. So I was down in Las Vegas for Skankfest.
Oh yeah.
And this was like a couple years ago. I was just down there like checking it out. Like Aaron Berg, who's a friend of mine, he got me on for a spot on his show with him and Luis Gomez, and so we're flying high. We're having a good time. Just drinking at Skankfest. Then we end up going over to the casino, and it's me and a couple of my really good friends who work with me with my production company, and Ryan Long and those guys were with us, but they kind of fucked off into the casino, and there's a bunch of comics in there partying. But we're sitting at the bar holding court, and these 4 prostitutes come wheeling over, just available for curbside pickup.
Nice.
They come over and they start trying to get us to go with them, but we're being, pretty responsible. We're all in relationships and stuff. So we're just like, nah, it's all right. Thank you, though. But because we're being funny, they start hanging out a little bit.
Right.
And because I'm like wearing a Hawaiian shirt, dressed like a gigolo, these two nerdy guys come walking over, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, are these your girls?" I'm like, "Oh my God, here we go." So I look at them. I'm like, "Hell yeah, they are, bro. How can I help you?"
Yeah.
So they're like, "Well, we'd like to inquire about their services."
Oh, gee.
And so So I said, well, you got to answer a couple questions for me. Where's your hotel room? And they're like, well, we're right across the street. I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. But how many guys do you have up in the hotel room? And they go, well, there's 6 of us total. I said, okay, well, we got 4 girls here, so this is how it's going to shake down. The girls are going to negotiate their prices, and you guys are going to be total gentlemen. Because mark my words, you do not want me having to cross that fucking street. And they're
This is
like,
hilarious.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're like taking this real serious.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys go have some fun. And then they start walking away with the girls, and I just look back at my buddies like, ah. And then they're looking, my friends are like, ah. We're all having a fucking laugh about it. Like, can't believe we just did that. And that's when I just feel like this cold, hard hand right on my shoulder, just grip my shoulder. I'm like, oh, that's not the hand of a friend.
That's the real pimp.
And I hear, who the fuck are you? And what are you doing with my girls?
Oh,
I'm like,
shit.
oh no, it's the real pimp.
That's hilarious.
So I know right away, like, I got to do something. Like, this is Vegas. People have been buried in the desert for
Right.
less than this. And I can't just like apologize because this guy's probably, he's a pimp. He's a professional bully. He's going to bully me up and down the fucking Vegas strip if I fucking come in weak. So I just roll my shoulders back and I look at him. I go, oh yeah? Where the fuck were you? He goes, what? I'm like, you heard me. Where the fuck were you? I go, you got these 2 fucking yo-yos trying to wheel these girls up to a hotel room. You got no one down here vetting the situation to make sure, A, they're going into a safe scenario, and B, you're getting the head count on all 6 guys that are up in that hotel room. No one's checking this out the way I see it. I just did you a favor, dude.
Fucking right, you did.
Pimp daddy.
And he
Pimp
looks
daddy.
at me. He's fucking shocked. He looks at me. He goes, man, thank you.
Did he buy you a beer?
Yeah, he goes, can I buy you a beer? I'm like, hell yeah, bro. Pull up a stool. So we're drinking with the pimp now.
That's awesome.
And we're just fucking partying. And like, this is the extended version of the story, but so we're partying. He goes, Tyler, there's someone I'd like you to meet. And he brings this beautiful lady over who's also an escort, clearly.
Right.
And he goes, Tyler, this is my wife. I want you to meet her. He's like, would you like to have her? You can have
Holy
her tonight.
shit.
No charge. She's yours for the evening. I'm like, nah, it's okay, brother. She's a very beautiful woman, but that's, I'm not going to, not going to do that, but I appreciate the offer. And he just looks at her and he's like, see, I told you he's a fucking good guy.
That's fucking hilarious.
And I'm like, I see like a look of like hopelessness and despair in her eyes that I've only seen in one other woman's face, my own wife. Maybe I could be a Vegas pimp after all.
Maybe, dude. You missed your calling. It's like comedy or pimp. Those
Oh
are the
man,
two,
Why not
So
both?
yeah, that was one of those ones where you don't get things like that happen to you too often once you're, in your late 30s.
Yeah. No,
So-
that's true. I don't think I've
Just
ever even met a pimp. So
Being reckless. But yeah, be careful when you're down there, boys. Don't fucking get stupid like me. That I almost got the fuck beat out of me, or worse.
Killed.
well, we're grateful that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's now we have we have Tyler Morrison to enjoy still. Thank God. Pimp didn't murder you and bury you in the desert.
Pimp daddy's
We would have missed out on a lot of jokes. Actually, like I got this little thing like I don't know if you feel comfortable doing this, Tyler, but like I just think you're such a like killer joke writer off the top of your head that we were like, what if we gave you a premise? Could you just like come up with jokes right off the cup? Like
I'll try. I'll try, and if I can't do it, fucking cut it from the episode. Boys.
There we go. There we go. I like it. I like the effort. Okay. Let's do Bud Light.
Okay, Bud Light. It's hard to do Bud Light because I've fucking already got a bunch of jokes I wrote about Bud Light.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could do them, but like, okay, let's do Pete Davidson.
Ah, Pete Davidson. Yeah, fuck. So yeah, Pete Davidson. I always thought the Pete Davidson Kanye feud was like overblown. Like Kanye thought he could just fucking kill Pete Davidson because he's like a rapper. It's like, dude, fucking Pete Davidson fucking kills rappers. Fucking 2 words, Mac Miller.
Holy shit. That is fucking gold.
Not
bro.
only did Pete Davidson murder Ariana Grande's pussy, he also had sex with her vagina.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay.
The one thing about Pete Davidson that I thought was silly is he got Kanye's kids tattooed on his fucking neck. Kanye's like, that's Pete. That's some fucking diddler behavior. Like, you don't fucking get another man's children name tattooed. There's a reason priests wear high collars.
Oh, wow.
Aside from,
sorry, go. So I'm laughing all over you, Jeff.
Pete Davidson, I also this is just a side story, but I remember when I was in Atlanta, Pete Davidson, I fucking hooked him up with pot in Atlanta.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Why do you approach?
I had this opening for him from Toronto. Do you guys know Jeff Danson?
No, I don't know Jeff. No.
So anyway, he hits me up because I was down doing the festival, and he's like, "Hey, I'm down here with Pete. Pete's looking for some weed." I don't know.
Go to the Canadian.
Like, I'm sure they could have found it, but I'm like, actually, I do happen to have that connection. I was able to like set him up. So that was my fucking biggest credit for a long time.
I scored Pete Davidson weed.
That's on his website.
Well, I actually think you're much funnier than Pete.
Me too.
I think you're a lot funnier, dude, than that.
Fuck, man. Well, tell some of these fucking Hollywood hooers.
We're trying to get the word out on you, Tyler. I think that was a great demonstration of what I'm talking about. This guy,
he's quick,
coming off the top of his head with like 3 killer jokes.
But be careful what you wish for, Tyler. You don't want to get your ass blown out.
That's true, man. You join Hollywood, they blow out your asshole, and then they then they get you under their thumb so they can control you.
I mean, I don't know your life. Maybe you're into that. I don't know.
Would you join the Illuminati or some secret like satanic cult to like make it?
Who doesn't want a tuggy in the Brian's pool party?
Wait a second. Wait, you got to repeat that because it broke up. We didn't hear it.
Who doesn't want a tug Brian Singer pool party?
A Brian Singer pool? Yeah, those Brian Singer pool parties sound insane. Like he was feeding
take 13...
Sorry, go.
Take a little ride on the Corey Haim claim to fame.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah. Brian Singer was like stuffing 13-year-old boys' assholes full of cocaine.
Oh,
they're fucking bad down there. I don't give a fuck about Hollywood. Hollywood's fucking, it is like, doesn't appeal to me.
No. You don't want
I like playing at the Comedy Store. That's fun.
So like stand-up's it for you then? You're not interested in getting a sitcom, being in movies, acting, anything like that?
If it's something that I can control the content,
right?
Because I really care about the quality of the comedy. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? I don't want to be doing other people's lines unless it's people that I collaborated with on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's important.
I mean, if someone wants to throw a bunch of fucking money at me, we'll talk about it. But
there's a discussion that we had there. Well, that's great, Tyler. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I mean, like, I love your comedy. I think you're a genius. Honestly, I think you're really legitimately a genius. Awesome. And like everyone, go check out Tyler. Is there anything shows coming up?
Yeah, just check out tylermorrison.ca. I've definitely got some shows coming up. We're gonna be I'm gonna be hosting a show in Belleville with Fiona O'Brien, like a St. Patty's event, and then I'm going to be doing Brian O'Gorman's St. Patty's event in Toronto, so that's where you can catch me in Toronto. That's on the 17th. I think that's I think it's the 17th. And then also if you're in the US and you're checking this out, Boston Comedy Festival, we are going to be doing my podcast Fight Stories live at City Winery, myself and John Moses. So yeah, check us out there if you want to check out my podcast Fight Stories. It's on YouTube and all the other platforms that you listen to podcasts.
That's cool. What is Fight Stories? Like what do you guys do? Is it just talk about UFC or like were you guys actually
No. We interview all different types of people everyone's got a fight story. So we have like comedians, we have just average Joes. So we go to like when we're on the road doing shows, we'll be, let's say we're in Kingston, Ontario. We're like, who's the toughest guy in this fucking town?
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, you got to meet Pierre. And next thing you know, we're like interviewing this guy at his house, and he's got like over 2,000 fucking street fights and just insane stories. But we have NHL enforcers. We've had my buddy Andrew Schultz on, and like Dan Soder's done the podcast, and Shane did it. Like, so we have a bunch of like wicked comics, but it's all online for people to check out, and we're gonna have a new season coming soon.
Everyone, check out Fight Street. That sounds awesome. I got to check that out. I haven't even watched one.
So you can check out my new stand-up special, Pimp Daddy, on YouTube, and if you want to check out my old one too, it's up there too soon as well. And make sure you subscribe and do all that stuff. You can check me out on Instagram, Tyler Morrison 123. Shoot me a follow, and tour dates are tylermorrison.ca. It's great to be on the show, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. You were awesome. No, you're a great guest. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time to be on the show. We really appreciate it, Tyler. Tyler Morrison, everybody. He's a killer. Check him out. Yeah. Thanks again, Tyler. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Bye-bye.
Okay. Anyways, that was the great Tyler Morrison.
Killer. Guy's a killer. Honestly, that was awesome.
He's super funny.
Thanks again, Tyler. But that was great. Everyone, check out Tyler Morrison. You won't regret it. And he mentioned a bunch of
heavy
comedians in there.
Heavy hitters.
That if you haven't heard, check them out, because this is if you like our style of comedy, if you like our brand of humor, you will definitely like Tyler. You'll definitely like a lot of those names that he mentioned in our interview. So check that out. Be well. Thanks for joining us this week.
Another great show.
I think so.
Yeah.
How did we do there, fake Carl?
Carl, what do you say? Pretty good. Thank you. Pretty good. Man, a few words. Pretty good.
That's good.
Thank you, fake Carl.
Fake Carl, I can't wait to see what you put together for us back there behind the camera. We're excited to do another one. Thank you.
Coming up soon. Stay tuned.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
I like your name a lot.